Today is a great, wonderful, amazing, incredible day, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a Netherlands day, it's a Dutch day. Cost of living in the Netherlands in 2025. Without further ado, let's get into this reaction. Let's go.
Moving to the Netherlands, I bet that the first thing that you're probably thinking is how much is it going to cost to move here? Well, today I'm going to give you updates on the current cost of living in the Netherlands. And I think that the most important place to start when it comes to living here is, of course, housing. So to be honest, the housing crisis in the Netherlands has only gotten worse. And so this means
that's something we have in common throughout Europe. Housing is crazy. Actually, no, to be fair, I feel like I looked at Sweden. They have like really good affordable housing. One day I just looked online. I was like, I wonder how much house prices are in Sweden, and it's quite low. The UK, like there's no, young people cannot get on the housing ladder. I don't know if it's the same way in the Netherlands, but it's so difficult to get on the housing ladder here because houses are they're incredibly expensive. And I'm on about throughout the UK. London, London, mate. The only people that own houses in London are foreign billionaires and millionaires from other countries. So London's even a different story. So I don't know what it's like in the Netherlands, but we're about to find out.
Means that housing has become even more expensive, not well kept, and also cramped. Amsterdam was actually named the 9th most expensive city in Europe, and it's on par with Paris and Rome as far as rental prices go. So if you're looking anywhere around Amsterdam, Rotterdam, The Hague, or Utrecht, then just know that these are going to be the most expensive cities in the Netherlands. And you're also going to face a lot of competition as well. But all hope is not lost, because if you go outside of these main cities, you're still going to face a lot of competition, but it will be a lot less expensive for housing. In the Netherlands,
So if I was wanting to move to the Netherlands, I would have to go and find somewhere in the countryside, somewhere more remote, maybe a smaller village or town. It's the same in the UK. The only way you're going to get affordable housing in this country, is if you're going to go out into the country, into the villages, into a town. Like I live in a village. In fact, I live outside of a village. That's how there's not many people in the area I live in. For that reason, really, partly that reason, because there's this countryside. I'm looking out the window right now and I can see sheep. I can see sheep and meadows. So, so it's just nicer to live outside of the city. It sounds like the Netherlands is quite similar to the UK in that regard. So
there are a few types of houses that you can get. There are single apartments, which you can rent on your own. And for a one bedroom, these go for around 1,100 to 2,200 euros, depending on the location. If you don't mind having roommates, then you can also rent a room in a shared apartment. And these go for around 400 to 900 euros.
That sounds about right. 400 to 900 euros. So wait, what was the first figure she said? So a single apartment is 1,100 to 2,200 euros. That's very cheap. I'm just gonna say that's very cheap. If this is, yeah, because in the UK, to rent a single apartment, my conversion's not great, but I know 1,100 euros is probably about £900 or something like that. To rent a single apartment in the UK, we're talking more like 1,600 euros. A one-bedroom apartment in a normal city. In London, double it. In London, 3,000 euros. Guys, the UK, we're fucked. Like, just to put it plainly, we are absolutely fucked. Like, this cost of living is out of here, especially since we've left the EU. We've just gone downhill faster than anywhere else. So yeah, I would rather live in the Netherlands and pay these prices.
On the location. If you don't mind having roommates, then you can also rent a room in a shared apartment, and these go for around 400 to 900 euros.
That is so cheap. A room. I remember I was living in a shared house in 2020. So this is 6 years ago, sorry. In 2020, wait, 5 years ago. Is it 5 years? What are we in? Are we in 2025? It feels like we're in 2026. Yeah, 5 years ago, right? So, yeah, 400 to 900 euros is cheap as hell. I think it was £1,000. Was it £1,000 a month? £1,000 a month, which is what? I don't know, 1,200, 1,000, whatever, euros. Guys, it's so much cheaper in the Netherlands. Trust me, it's so much cheaper. And that wasn't London, you know. That wasn't London. That wasn't London. That was not London. That was in the Leeds, in the UK, the north of England.
And if you're going to university, a lot of schools actually offer student housing on campus.
Okay.
And this is going to be one of the most affordable options for you. So all you have to do is reach out to the school and see what their pricing and also their availability looks like, because I know that because student housing is such a good option, it gets booked up super fast. And one thing to note, one really big thing actually, is that the Netherlands just went through a change in its rental laws. And so last year, I believe it was in July 2024, it became a law that landlords cannot just charge these crazy prices, and the government actually keeps a cap on how much.
I think something similar happened in the UK. There was something similar where they've implemented some sort of cap or some sort of, I think it's to do with the deposit. You know, like they can't charge more than 1 month's rent or something in advance. There's been some cappage. There's been some cappage on renting in the UK as well. I think it's, you know, it's funny. We're not in the EU, but I feel like we implement a lot of the laws that get implemented in the EU and other European countries. It's just like, what's the point of us not being in the EU when we agree on so much? It doesn't make any sense. But let's not keep on talking about the EU.
The rental can be. Also, another change is that all contracts are now indefinite. And so there's no hard line on when you have to move out of a place. It's kind of like if you get an apartment, then you can just stay there as long as you want. And
wait, squatters' rights? That sounds like squatters' rights. What do you mean? You can just rent an apartment and you can stay there as long as you want. So what if the landlord wants you out? That don't make any sense to me. So as a landlord, you get someone and they can stay as long as they want. There has to be some provisions in place for that, because imagine you get a terrible tenant and they stay there, they trash the place, and you have to keep them there, and ooh, don't know about that. I wouldn't want to own a property and rent it in the Netherlands if people can just stay there.
This is a good thing, but it has also caused landlords to sell their places because they no longer want to deal with their rentals. So it's caused the housing market to have even less of a supply of housing. Also with housing, you have to keep in mind that there's a direct correlation between where you live and the price that you pay. If you live in bustling international cities like Amsterdam, The Hague, Rotterdam, or Utrecht, then you will pay a lot more for housing, but you'll also have a lot more job opportunities and a lot more opportunities to meet international people. And in the Netherlands, if you can't speak Dutch that well, it's going to be really important to situate yourself near other international people, because you're not going to be able to form deep connections with Dutch people. And for me, I currently live in Amersfoort, which is a smaller town. And so it's been really tough for me actually to meet other international people. And if I live
You have to, if you're going to move to a country, you have to immerse yourself in that culture. You have to. If you just stay in the international areas and around amongst international people, you're never going to really, truly integrate into the society that you're in. So if I went to the Netherlands and I decided that's going to be my home, I'm going to be living here for years, as a European country, I would learn the language. I would have to learn the language and immerse myself properly in your culture, because otherwise I'm not ever gonna really experience being a Dutch, having the Dutch culture and experience properly. Because even though you guys speak English incredibly well, otherwise you won't be watching me. Still, you need to learn the language. I really believe you need to learn the language. So That's that. I don't know. What do you guys think? I just think when you move to a country, I feel like a hypocrite because I actually moved to Thailand and I was living there for over 2 years. And I didn't learn the language. But I feel like, hear me out, I feel like it's different when you move to like further afield and it's a temporary move. It was only meant to be for like, yeah, it was meant to be 2 years. I knew it was 2 years, but that's temporary. We knew we were going to move back after that 2 years was up. So I didn't feel the incentive to learn Thai. And because it's not a European language, I just didn't. Is that bad? I don't know. I feel like it's different. If you speak English, if you speak another European language, another Germanic language, I think you should learn the language. I think you should learn Dutch if you can speak English. You should learn German if you go to Germany. You should learn. Do you know what I mean? Anyways.
Lived in a bigger city like Utrecht, which is only like a 15-minute train ride, so it's not that bad. But if I lived directly in the city, it would be a lot easier for me to form deeper connections with more international people there. So if that's important to you, you might want to look at a bigger city and sacrifice some of your wallet for more fun. However, living in a smaller city does have its advantages. The air quality will be better, things will be a lot calmer, you won't have honking right outside your window, and you'll also be able to pay a better price for housing. And whatever you choose, just keep in mind that the Netherlands has a great rail system, and so no matter where you live, you can always just hop on a train and be able to go to the event that you want to, or to meet up with the friends that you want to meet up with.
That's good.
And as you probably know, because the Netherlands is very famous for it, bikes are the main mode of transportation for most people here. But I will say, as a foreigner, there is a huge learning curve when it comes to riding a Dutch bike. Before coming here, I thought a bike is a bike. I don't need to relearn how to ride a bike, but I was wrong because Dutch bikes are much different than the mountain bikes or the hybrid bikes that.
What's she saying? The different physically? Because I thought she was going to say just riding them in the Netherlands is different, but she's saying the actual physical bikes themselves is different.
I'm used to riding in the US. It's just a bit different with balancing, and so it does feel a bit more wobbly when you ride on them. So if you're used to a mountain bike or a hybrid bike, just know that it will feel different if you get a Dutch bike, but it'll get better the more you ride it. And you can also get a hybrid bike if you like. No one's gonna stop you. There's no Dutch police here that say that you have to ride a Dutch bike. But if you're gonna be riding long distances, Dutch bikes are designed to be a lot more comfortable for you. And this is because
the quality looks bad. I don't know what I've done, guys. Bear with me a second. This is real time. We need to put it to 720p. You know, we don't need
because
HD.
The Netherlands is literally built for bike travel. Bikes here always have the right of way, and the roads are built to accommodate bike lanes. So wherever you choose to go on your bike, you're gonna be pretty safe.
Reckless.
And it's.
Do you see how they just rode in the road? There was a car still there, and they were like, zoop. That was. Look at that.
So wherever you choose to go on your bike.
Look at that. The car hadn't even finished turning around the corner and they were already in the road. Wow. And they're older people. You see, they've got grey hair. Wow. Wow. I could tell that is savage. Like, people have been riding bikes in your country for a very long time. So the way they ride is very offensively. Like, they're like attacking the road rather than. Like, they're like, we have right of way kind of thing. Whereas I feel like bicyclists in the UK are more meek and not as like, we're owning the road sort of thing. Because we don't have dedicated bike paths. As we do, but not as many as you guys have. We haven't got the infrastructure to kind of ride everywhere. So I just can tell the confidence. The confidence just to ride in the middle of the road like that. And the car hasn't even reached the other side, and there's someone crossing the zebra crossing. They didn't even slow down to check if it was okay to go across. Clearly the car's gonna stop because someone's walking across the road, but they're still trying to get across the road. Wow.
You're gonna be pretty safe, and it's gonna feel really great to be able to ride around here. As far as pricing, it really depends on the type of bike that you want and the condition of the bike. And you can pay anything from €0 to a whole lot of euros. It just depends on the type of bike. And yes, I said €0 because I have met some people, and I've also seen online where some people are able to get a free bike from a site called Marketplaats. And Marketplaats, if you aren't familiar, is basically like the Dutch Craigslist. And yeah, some people just list used bikes on there for free, and you can go pick them up. And even if you don't find them for free on Marketplaats, it's still a really great site to look on if you're looking for a used bike, because they have some pretty great prices. But just be aware that some people do go on there and list stolen bikes. And so if that freaks you out, or if you really want to avoid getting a stolen bike, then there are other options as well. So at the bike store, you can get a whole new, fresh, shiny bike from anywhere ranging from €300 to thousands and thousands of euros. Though my suggestion would be to go for a really good used bike. And you can do this at a used bike shop. So if you go to a used bike store, you can get a pretty good used one for about €150. And if you don't want to totally commit to a bike just yet, you can use a bike rental service or even use your OV Trip card to rent a bike through the NS. But in the long run, these options will just cost you more than just buying a used bike. And yeah, either way, unless you're really, really passionate about riding a bike here, you're probably really going to want to stick with getting a used bike, because a lot of bikes do get stolen here. And that's why it's really important to have at least 2 locks on your bike at all times.
Is bike theft really a problem? I mean, I'm guessing so, because you guys, there's so many bicycles in the Netherlands that, yeah, I guess opportunistic thieves would probably choose to steal a bike. And also, police are not going to like, if you call the police, someone stole my bike, they're gonna be like, well, we haven't got the time to deal with this, so here's a crime reference number, go and, you know what I mean? Do you guys have bicycle insurance? I think you need bicycle insurance, because the police are not going to do anything, especially if it's a common thing to get your bike stolen. Let me know in the comment section below if you have like bicycle insurance. She's talking about locks, obviously that's important as well, but you know, if you have an expensive bike, it might be worth getting an insurance. And
really funny thing is that sometimes people even spend more on their bike locks than their actual bike. But if you need to go really long distances and don't want to ride your bike, or it's raining outside and you just don't want to deal with the wind and the rain that day, then there's always trains, trams, and buses that you can take as well. The Netherlands is known for having a really amazing rail system. You can literally go anywhere in the country using NS Rail, and also you can go to some places outside of the country as well. Anyways, they're pretty clean, provide debatable quality Wi-Fi, and are decently on time most of the time. Although, if I'm being completely honest, this year there have been more and more delays going on, and I see a lot more people talking about how the trains are not always on time recently.
Well, I bet your trains are way better than ours. I don't know if you guys know about our infrastructure, or if you know about our train services in the UK. It's very bad. It's all privatized. Different companies own different train service providers. It's a mess. It's a mess. The government, a long time ago, it might have been in the 90s, I think, when they sold all these contracts to all these private companies to own all these train service providers. And now they've been able to charge whatever they want. Train tickets are very, very expensive, guys. I don't know if you've been to the UK, but if you try to get from London to, say, where I'm from, which is only like 200 miles away, on a train, it will cost you more to get a train from London to where I live than it would cost me to get an aeroplane to the Netherlands. Let me say that again. It will cost you more money to get from one side of this island, because we're an island, we're small, an island, from London to Leeds, which is like 200 miles, than to get an aeroplane because there's an airport near here, from Leeds to the Netherlands. You can Google it. You can Google it if you want to Google it, but I'm telling you, it's so expensive. So expensive. It's a problem. It's a real problem in this country. Not only we have really high rent, really high housing prices, but we have high transport as well, like costs. Like train costs are ridiculous. Yeah.
Still, coming from the US, this is miles ahead of where we are, so it's pretty great to me. They also have an app that's pretty easy to navigate and also helps you get to your destination. So you can just put in your starting point and your ending point, and it'll let you know the best route to take and when you can take those routes. But as of 2025, the NS has increased its pricing, and it already wasn't cheap. And so it's becoming a more expensive option. For example, last year it cost me $12.50 to go from Amersfoort to Deventer on the train, and this year it cost me $13.30 to do the same ride. But you can offset this by getting an OV chip card and buying an NS subscription.
Let me know in the comment section if that's a far journey, because that's quite a cheap ticket. I don't know where she's going. Is that a different city? Let me know how many in miles or kilometers, how far that is.
They have many different options, and so you can just choose the one that works best for you. They also have this really great feature where if you buy a subscription, then friends that travel with you also get a pretty hefty discount as well, even if they don't have a subscription. And you can also use your subscription for buses as well. And you can also own a car, of course, but I have no experience with that, so I can't really comment on it here. So for groceries, you have a few different options for grocery shopping, and they all vary by cost and quality of food. So weekend markets and tocos are going to be your cheapest options for buying produce and groceries. However, I find that the weekend markets, the produce there just doesn't last as long as other places. But tocos are...
Well, yeah, because the weekend market is fresh food. When you go to the market, because we have a lot of markets in the UK, that's where you get the fresh food. It perishes. It's not like America where they put all the preservatives in it and it lasts for like 10 weeks. That's what she's used to, right? In America, they put all these preservatives in their food and you can literally leave that food out for like a whole week and it's still fine. No, we have fresh food. It's fresh in Europe. Our food actually perishes how it's supposed to, it actually goes off, it goes bad. That means the food is fresh. That means if you go to the market and you bring the food back, you should probably eat it from between 1 to 2 days, and eat that. I'm being really horrible. But you guys know what I mean, right? Because she's American. She's not used to going to a market and bringing home some fresh food and it going off and going bad. She's used to getting food and it just lasting forever because of the preservatives in their food. But she's American.
Are pretty good when it comes to both produce and spices and specialty ingredients. Aldi and Lidl are also another budget-friendly option. They're going to be a little more expensive than tocos and weekend markets, but not a lot more than them. They can also be a more convenient option if you have one that's closer to your home. And Aldi's produce has always been pretty good to me, but they don't have a large selection of meats, so you'll probably have to go somewhere else for that. Jumbo and...
I get my meat from Aldi, and Aldi does quite a lot of meat to me. I don't know about your Aldi. Our Aldis, they do fresh meat and chicken and fish and stuff like that.
Albert Heijn, this is where I do a lot of my shopping, but they are pretty expensive, and that's because they come with convenience. They're one of the only supermarkets really in the Netherlands, and so it's really a one-stop shop place. And for me, being super busy, I don't really have time to go to individual stores to get what I need, so I just pop into a Jumbo or an Albert Heijn and pick up everything there. But you will pay a little bit more, and also the quality isn't always that great. So Plus is actually my favorite store here, but it's pretty expensive, and I will say the same about specialty stores as well. They're going to be more expensive than your average grocery store, but they're gonna have a lot more variety, and the quality of food is gonna be really nice. And if cooking isn't your thing, you can always dine out here, but something that I realized is that Dutch people don't really eat dinner out that often unless it's for a special occasion. At least
Is it expensive then to eat out in the Netherlands? If it's like that, if it's for just for special occasions, then it must be quite expensive. It's kind of the same here in the UK. We only really dine out maybe on the weekends. It's not something that you would do during the week. We don't have a culture of just going out for dinner during the week. We don't do that. So we're the same, I think.
At least that's the case in smaller towns like where I live in Amersfoort. But in bigger cities like Amsterdam or Utrecht, there's definitely more of a food culture there. Either way, you'll have options in every city if you want to dine out. The cheapest options, of course, are going to be fast food chains, just like anywhere else. So McDonald's, Burger King, KFC. There's also a bunch of quick chain cafes like Bagels and Beans that you could go to as well. And the most expensive option will, of course, be restaurants. So something to know is that health insurance is actually mandatory in the Netherlands. So you'll want to buy it as soon as you get to the Netherlands because...
Is this for tourists? She said health insurance is mandatory. Do you guys have health insurance as native Dutch people, Dutch nationals? Do you guys also have insurance? How does it work in the... Actually, yeah, how does it work in the Netherlands? Do you guys have insurance or do you have universal healthcare? Is it free? Is it free healthcare or do you pay? I mean, everyone pays through taxes, but I mean, like... Does it come through your taxes or do you pay individually like in America? Let me know in the comment section. That's actually interesting. Because I just assume everywhere in Europe, we all get free healthcare through our taxes. Let me know in the comment section.
Once you get health insurance, the health insurance company will actually make you back pay from the first day that you arrived in the Netherlands anyways. But to be fair to them, they'll also reimburse you for any out-of-pocket medical bills that you paid for as well. So good. It kind of works out. Health insurance is said to rise in 2025. I'm not too sure if that's happened yet, but when I purchased health insurance, it's about 150 euros a month. And if you make under a certain salary, the government will actually give you money back that you paid into health insurance once you file your taxes.
Wait. You guys pay for your healthcare? Let me know in the comment section below. I don't know why I just assumed you have the same model as the UK and other European countries. Let me know in the comment section.
You can also use these sites which help you to compare healthcare packages. But to be honest, all the healthcare packages are pretty similar. You can just buy the basic package. I think the big difference is where you will have coverage. So those sites really help for you to see if you'll have enough coverage in the area that you live in. Anyways, I hope that this helped you get a better gauge on pricing of things in the Netherlands as it stands currently. Of course, things are only getting more expensive, but this should be good at least through this year. And
anyways, I'm going to pause her.
That should help some of you out. If you have anything else to add, please do so in the comments. But that's it for now. And
okay, she's done. Sorry. We need to talk. Health insurance. Health insurance. You guys pay for health insurance. Is that true? Is that like, you guys have an American model? Or is she talking about herself because she's not from the country and she has to have health insurance because she's not a Dutch national? But if that was the case, she would speak about the free health care that you have. Do you guys not have free health care? I really need to know this. Obviously, I'm going to Google this after the video, but I will be surprised if that's the case because you're such a progressive country, and I always associate progressiveness with free healthcare when it comes to European countries, like no guns, free healthcare, you know, that sort of stuff. A good social program for housing. Is your healthcare privatized? I've got so many questions. I might have to watch a video about it, guys. But this is a good video. This is good to know what the cost of living and what the roughly what it's like. Apart from the health insurance, it's cheaper. From the sounds of the prices she was reeling off, like transport and housing and stuff like that, it's cheaper than the UK. We're really fucked. I'm sorry, but excuse my French. We're really in a bad situation. It seems like the Netherlands is a lot better than the UK, but The insurance part, I'm a bit like, explain. Let me know in the comment section below. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next one, I will see you very soon.